Welcome to Scuba Bob's Ocean Quest. Our goal is to educate youth and adults on the importance of our oceans and waterways. Scuba Bob has been diving since 1978 with thousands of dives around the world. The oceans cover 72% of the Earth's surface. 75% of the Earth's oxygen is produced by the oceans of our world. Ocean Quest has been creatively produced to educate youth and adults on marine life and the conservation of both land and water. He and his team will share their passion for the mysteries of this liquid world of our blue planet. On December 14th, 2006, the white dolphin was declared extinct. Who will be next? Scuba Bob completed his doctoral dissertation on dolphin communications with disabled divers with a positive outcome between the divers and the dolphin. In today's episode, we'll be filming a lionfish hunt in Hopkins, Belize. This is Boo, owner of Seymour Adventures. In order to find our hunting grounds, we will need to make passage from the marina, through the mangroves, and to the open water. The mangroves are very important to the health of our oceans. They provide a safe location for hatchlings to grow and develop into adult game fish. This episode of Scuba Bob's Ocean Quest is edited, videoed, and produced by Dr. Scuba Bob. Our quest will be to hunt for the Indonesian red lionfish, which is upsetting the balance of nature in the Caribbean. As we exit the Seti River, we enter the waters of the Caribbean Sea to hunt for this dangerous and invasive species. Programs have been put in place to kill and eat the lionfish. And the hunt is on. We will be looking for the lionfish on two dives, Fourth Corner and Paradise Reef. The reefs of Belize are very healthy and full of life. I hope we can find some lionfish. Lionfish hunts are designed to promote conservation by ridding the Caribbean Sea of this animal that does not belong here. A 5-gallon bucket is used to hold our lionfish catch. It looks like we'll be receiving an escort by two remora suckerfish. Spears are out and our hunters are looking for their prey. When you're hunting for lionfish, you need to pay attention to small details to find lionfish. They have colorful fins that blend into the background. Our depth is around 80 feet and still no lionfish. Lionfish have been found in depths of over 1,000 feet. As we dive along the reef, we look under all the ledges of the reef. The lionfish can be found in and among the coral outcropping and among the soft coral sea whips. I saw my first lionfish in 2006 in Nassau, Bahamas. I was on a dive with disabled divers and we dove on some of the James Bond wrecks. The biggest lionfish was in the bow of one of the ships. I only saw 2 lionfish on that dive. The dive has just begun and we are still looking for lionfish. It is not uncommon to find 20 to 50 lionfish on one dive. We found 2 French angelfish and our French angelfish shook her head and said, "No, we haven't seen any lionfish today." It looks like Boo has found a lionfish. Val's hands are slippery from suntan lotion, so Boo will have to take the shot. Got it. This is our first fish of the day. Lionfish in the bucket, on to the next catch. It is Boo's dream to rid all of the Belizean reefs from lionfish. For more information, please send him an email at seymourdiveshop@gmail.com. As we make our way along the reef, we can find schools of reef fish like these Creole wrasse. They travel in schools throughout the day, and at night they find refuge under coral ledges. Jim Bob is cruising along looking for this animal that's upsetting the balance of nature in the Caribbean Sea. I've looked all over the place and I can't find any lionfish. Come on, team, we found one lionfish and it's time we find more. Jim Bob and Val work with a program called Project Recovery, which retrieves the remains of World War II crewmen who were shot down over the Pacific Ocean. Go to www.projectrecovery.com. We appreciate what they're doing for our veterans. Come on, Boo, use your super lionfish hunting powers. Nothing yet. I wish we could find some way to call them. It looks like Jim Bob's giving us the hang loose sign. Well, there we are. Hello there, Mr. Shark. I bet you're looking for a handout. And it looks like the big boys have come out to play. In some locations in the Caribbean, nurse sharks have been taught to find lionfish and eat them. Nurse sharks love lionfish. Hello there, Mr. Stingray. These rays can grow up to almost 15 feet in width. This is a lazy southern stingray, also known as a short-tailed stingray. They are harmless unless you apply pressure on their backs, which can cause the barbed tail to curve forward and inflict a painful toxin. If you look at the large hole to the left, you'll see their gills, and to the front of them is the eye of the stingray. They present a minimal risk to humans. Looks like someone's looking for a sample of that lionfish we caught. Look, there's a pair of spot-fin butterfly fish. They swim in pairs and mate for life. Still looking. Okay, I see my first lionfish down at the bottom of the screen. Okay, Boo, come and get your lionfish. Pull your sling back and prepare to catch a lionfish. Ready, Aim, shoot. Good shot, and another one for the bucket. Wait a second, don't I even get a sample? Mr. Shark is looking for food and doesn't seem happy. We're not giving him anything to eat. If you look carefully, you'll see that the nurse shark has very small teeth and present no lethal danger to humans. We've had plenty of time with sharks, so now let's get friendly with the sea turtle. This is a green sea turtle, and you'll see plenty of these throughout the Belizean waters. They can be slow moving, and they like to check out these strange creatures with bubbles coming out of their heads. When you find a sea turtle, be careful not to harass, touch, or ride them. They're endangered animals, and you can be fined or put in jail. It looks like we've reached our maximum bottom time, and it's about time to get back on the boat. Now that we're going up, we have 2 hungry nurse sharks on our dive. I hope they can find some lionfish on their own. As we head back to the boat, we relax and make a slow ascent along the reef wall. Lionfish have no predators in the Caribbean and have babies year-round with no mating season. Some lionfish have been found to have as many as 40 to 60 prey in their expanded stomachs. A single lionfish can kill up to 80% of the marine creatures in its area in just 5 short weeks. The lionfish can go up to 3 months or longer without eating and will only lose 10% of its body weight. This is a marine crisis. What can you do? It looks like we've reached our maximum bottom time, and it's time to get back onto the surface. Our observer, the lobster, seems to be happy that we've taken out 4 lionfish on today's dive. And be sure to come back for some more. We'll see you on our next dive, Mr. Shark.
Okay. All right. What's your name? Okay.
Boo is preparing the lionfish for cooking in ceviche. He has spent his life diving all through the islands and dive sites of Belize. His dream is to remove the lionfish from the waters of Belize and keep them in check. The next day, we set out for another lionfish hunt with Team 2. Dive Team 2 went to another dive location to see if we could find more lionfish. Our goal is to kill as many lionfish as we can in the name of conservation. Team 2 will be made up of Chris, who is a flight nurse in Houston, Texas. He is passionate about diving and wants to do his part in ocean conservation. Brian is also a nurse and works in IT. He loves diving and has a passion for conservation. And finally, we have Scuba Bob, who has dedicated his life to educating adults and children on the importance of ocean conservation. Chris put on his fins and did a back roll into the water. And then he signaled, "Okay." Chris grabbed his Hawaiian sling and we set off to hunt lionfish. Scuba Bob made it into the water and prepared for the lionfish hunt. He got into the water without his gear on and put his gear on while he was in the water. Might be a little weird, but that's the way he does it. He checked out his equipment and then he began to look for the lionfish. The closer we got to the bottom, the more curious we became. And it looks like we have a shark swimming out to greet us. It looks like Brian's getting some good shots with his camera. The reef looks like it's in good shape. We need to keep our eyes out for the lionfish. Lionfish blend into the coral reef, and we need to pay attention to all movement inside the reef. It amazes me how well the marine life blends into the environment. It's a great defense mechanism. Looks like we have a nurse shark. I wonder where she's going. And look, there goes another shark. They're passing each other's like two jet aircraft. I have a hard time believing that people are afraid of sharks. Nurse sharks love to eat lionfish, and when they see divers with Hawaiian slings, they know that they're going to get some type of lunch without having to work for it. Chris has his pool spear, and he's ready to start catching lionfish. He's a determined individual, and oh, he can't wait to catch one. This area of the reef looks like a good place for a lionfish to hide. Keep your eyes peeled for lionfish. It looks like we've got a gray angelfish, and she doesn't seem to be worried about the nurse sharks, and I don't think she's seen any lionfish. As we see our divers looking for lionfish, we need to remember that conservation activities include renewing, recycling, and reusing. The lionfish has been identified as a danger to the health of the Caribbean reefs. Lionfish hunting and training sharks to eat lionfish are two types of interventions to eradicate these parasites of the Caribbean Sea. Nurse sharks are not aggressive, and they usually eat crabs, shrimp, snails, and worms. They suck the food into their mouth, and they use their teeth to cut it into smaller pieces. I've only heard of a few people who've been bitten by a nurse shark, and it's caused only minor lacerations. These sharks are smart and know that the divers are not good to eat, but what's inside the bucket is like a steak dinner. As we look at our hunters, we see a lot of activity, and I think they may have found signs of lionfish. The nurse shark seems to have picked up the scent of a lionfish. Let's hope we have some lionfish in the area. Brian is capturing some shots to document this hunt. Hopefully he can find a lionfish. The nurse shark is starting to be more active and beginning to go into hunt mode. Let's hope he's right and there will be a lionfish in the area. Our shark is taking the lead, and the dive master is pointing as if something's in the reef. Chris has his pool spear, and he's ready to catch a lionfish. After a few tries, the dive master gives Chris a few tips on how to use the pull spear. Wow, this lionfish has made it difficult for Chris to spear it. The fish must have had a history of being hunted. Let's see what happens as he tries to catch this fish. Our nurse shark is making a trip by the lionfish to see if she can catch it. The dive master makes a few attempts to catch the lionfish. This is getting frustrating for the dive master, Chris, and the shark. Chris goes back in to get his spear and try again. It looks like he's determined to catch that lionfish, and I think he might do it this time. He pulls his spear back and pow! We have a dead lionfish. Way to go, Chris. He gives the spear to the dive master and he puts it in the bucket. Whoops! This guy's not going to give up easily. Let's hope that he didn't get away. The dive master moves in for a re-spear on the lionfish. Whoops! But another miss. Let's try again. Where'd that lionfish go? I can't find him. Well, maybe the dive master was... Oh, there. There we go, success. Not to be outdone, Brian pulls back a spear and we have another lionfish. Number 2, way to go, Brian. Brian hands his fish off to the dive master to put in the bucket. Fish in the bucket, now let's go for number 3. Okay, Brian, get your spear ready and let's go get some more lionfish. Wow, that was quick. Looks like Chris found another lionfish. And pow, we have number 3. I think we've found the honeypot. The nurse shark was hoping the lionfish would have escaped so she would have a snack. We're not through yet. It looks like we have another fish. And pow, way to go, Brian. Boy, these guys are becoming pros. Way to go, guys. Keep up the good work. Whoops, our lionfish isn't dead and he's trying to make an escape. Go get him, nurse shark. Don't worry, Brian's focused and ready to make another shot, and he's not gonna miss. Good job, Brian. On one of my episodes, I was hunting, catching, and eating lionfish. The end product was a tasty, sweet white meat, and it can be found in many restaurants in the Caribbean. These reefs are beautiful and full of life. I hope by killing this invasive fish, we can ensure the reefs will stay healthy. It looks like we have a break in the action. Our shark friend is happy we found lionfish and is looking for a handout. Chris is looking for some more fish and paying attention to details in the reef. Well, hello there, Mr. Shark. Did the dive master give you a handout? Well, looks like you have a smile on your face. I guess he did. It looks like we're leaving the dense coral area and heading out to the sandy bottom to see if we can find any lionfish. Okay, Chris, show us where they are. The sharks are escorting us through the sandy bottom to find lionfish. Looks like Brian's found one. He and Brian are doing a great job finding lionfish. These sharks seem to think that we're an escort service and we're trying to help them find food. I think Chris found a friend. It looks like our newfound friend is coming over to thank me for a good time, and I think she liked the handout. On the bottom, we find a different type of sea life. This is a small conch shell and has a hermit crab in it. As we get closer, our hermit crab is paying attention to my approach to determine if I'm a danger to him. He's putting out his feelers, and if you look closely, you can see him using his eyes to check me out. Our hunters are not through. Chris sees another lionfish and makes a shot. Wow, another lionfish. As you can see, this menace to the reef is prolific and a danger to the game fish in the area. We have shot over 20 lionfish on this fishing trip. Oh, or should I call it a catching trip? Our conservation warriors are cleaning up. We need more lionfish hunters in the Caribbean Sea to clean out this environmental disaster. Okay, it looks like it's time to finish this successful dive. The dive master is checking us to see that we're all okay. Air's checked, computer's checked, and it's time for us to go up and make our safety stop. Last minute instructions from our dive master, and with a final okay, we head for our safety stop. Let's say goodbye to our shark friends and thank our dive team too, Chris and Brian. Oh, and me, Scuba Bob. Let's give a big thanks to Dive Team 1, Jim Bob, Val, and Lauren, and to Boo with Seymour Divers. We hope you enjoyed this episode of Scuba Bob's Ocean Quest, and you return next week to experience the underwater world of Scuba Bob. This is Scuba Bob saying keep it safe, keep it smart, and keep her clean until we dive again. The white dolphin went into extinction in 2006 due to man's ignorance and greed.
It is our hope that you see the importance of ocean conservation